We did part one of this seminar yesterday, where we covered chapters 16, 17, and 18 of the 2021 IBC. Today, in this part two, we will do chapters 19 through 23. Chapter 19, Concrete, has adopted a new standard 318.19 instead of 318.14, which means a lot of changes. So much of our time today will be devoted to chapter 19. Chapter 20, aluminum, the standard has been updated. There is nothing to talk about. Chapter 21, masonry, the standards have not been updated. There are hardly any significant changes in the chapter. So again, nothing to talk about. Chapter 22, structural steel, there is a handful of changes that we will go over. The changes in cold form steel standards, which I mentioned yesterday, there are aspects of the changes that could be discussed, but we could not fit that into 2.5 hours. So we will go on to chapter 23, wood, where there is a new adoption, a new edition of special design provisions for wind and seismic. And then there are other significant developments in wood structures that Buddy Showalter will talk to you about. So the third segment of today's seminar will be devoted to the few changes in structural steel in chapter 22, and then the wood chapter 23. I showed this picture yesterday, 2021 IBC. The title is wrong. I meant to change it yesterday. Anyway, 2021 IBC, very importantly, still based on ASCE 716, except that supplement number 1 to ASCE 716 has now been adopted. And that brings a number of significant changes into chapter 16, which we discussed yesterday. This code was published in October of 2020. And I did mention yesterday that the interest after all this time in 2021 IBC is stemming from the fact that the 2022 California Building Code, based on the 21 IBC, will go into effect on January 1 of 2023, which is around the corner. So chapter 19, I didn't put in title slides and things like that. I will talk about the chapter in the code first, chapter 19 itself, and the changes in the chapter in the code. And then I will go on to changes in the reference standard ACI 318.19. These will be changes from 318.14 to 318.19. In the concrete chapter itself, section 9103 is anchoring to concrete. The only change here, they are giving you the scope of this section. And in the scope now, we have included screw anchors, because ACI, among the changes in ACI 318.19, one of the changes is that screw anchors are now within the scope of IBC chapter 19. There is a brand new section on tolerances, 1901.7, as you can see. For cast in place concrete, the document that you have to comply with it is ACI 117. That is the long standing tolerance document of ACI. There is an exception to this requirement that you shall comply with 117 for tolerance. The exceptions are that if you are dealing with group R3, that is detached one or two family dwellings, then you are not required to comply with ACI 117. Also, if you're dealing with shotcrete, then you don't have to comply with ACI 117.